All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to another episode of the Gafford and Brown Show.
I'm Robert Brown.
I'm Lamar Gafford, and today we're basically going to talk about the NFL, big game in college football, and also big boxing fights, and also a big wrestling matchup. On the docket for this weekend as well. But let's start off here. What happened last week in the NFL season? Guess what? We got our chance. First week of the season. Got some very interesting games out there here. Uh, right now, I guess we just start off with the first game of the season here. Your Broncos against the Ravens.
It's a pretty huge game. It definitely set the tone for the season, set the tone for the high scoring that we'll be seeing in a lot of games. Also, the huge aerial ticks from multiple teams, and it definitely put a lot of defenses on notice that this season is definitely what the past couple seasons have been the year of the quarterback, especially with 7 touchdowns from Peyton Manning. It's just very eventful, especially when you consider that all the things Baltimore lost during the offseason, like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Anquan Bolden, and they still showed some fight, and they had some unfortunate injuries like Jacoby Jones, but it was a game that definitely I think even though it was kind of a blowout, definitely set the tone of the season and definitely let us know what the rest of the games will hold. What do you think?
It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, we basically waited about 15 minutes for a weather delay just in order to get to this point. But, I mean, Peyton Manning really showed out there that I guess he really made up for it pretty much with that performance. Like I said, 7 touchdowns. I mean, just think about it. If he's doing this against a team, and I know the Baltimore Ravens aren't the defensive juggernaut that they were, let's say, about a couple of years ago or even last year or something like that, but they still got some good defensive pieces. If he's throwing 7 touchdowns against them, can you imagine how many is he going to score against maybe some other weaker defense or something like that, maybe like the Raiders or somebody else?
Right. It's definitely telling what this offense can do, especially consider the fact that the running game hasn't picked up yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how they continue to develop. One of the most important things I saw, I took from the game was how Peyton Manning got hit and he got right back up. It was definitely telling, and it let me know that he's definitely come a long way from his injuries and he's ready for this season.
Right, because last season, many people were scared about that first big hit. Could he take a hit? And I don't know how many times he got sacked the last season. He got sacked probably a fairly decent amount of times and stuff. But you got yourself a hard-hitting defense, of course, with the Ravens. And like you said, getting back up and everything. I mean, pretty much the neck injury is pretty much a foregone conclusion now. It's not like we're worried about it now. We're now basically seeing how good can he perform, and actually can he put the Broncos into a Super Bowl run, which really I believe, and I know you believe, that could really much happen this year.
Right. It's very much so realistic. It's something that we can see. And, the division looks fairly competitive this year. You had Kansas City get a good win in the season. Oakland, who didn't win, but they look, fairly decent. And you have the Chargers, who, look like the Chargers are old, but also they had a pretty stellar beginning to their game.
Right. About the Chargers too, like if I felt like here if there could have been a chance for them to get a touchdown or something like that, we would basically be saying the Chargers aren't the same Chargers. Pretty much, everybody's out there. They're doing well here. However, sadly, that was not the case. But we have to see how well that they do. And their next week, their game is against the Philadelphia Eagles, which I mean, we're really gonna see can they bounce back and make this, go even with the first 2 games at 1-1, or is this loss gonna fester to them and they're gonna go 0-2 and it's gonna be a long season out there in Charger land? And about Oakland really didn't look half bad.
Right, Oakland was pretty decent in that last game, and it was impressive. It was impressive to see them play that well and continue to show their grit. Definitely something you want to keep seeing from them.
Right, and hats off to really Terrell Pryor because he had a pretty good game, had 112 yards on the ground, and his passing yards out there, I'm looking up right now, 217 passing yards, which he really had them in the game. And right now, the proof is probably still we don't know if he's going to be their long term answer at quarterback or anything quite yet. But if he continues to show up like he did the other game, well, if he continues to show up like he did last week, I mean, who knows? He might be actually a pretty decent option out there for him.
Right. And it's pretty telling. I think I like some of the I like their chances to be a spoiler kind of
Mm-hmm.
for the season.
Right, and I think, and I saw a lot of people tweeting about it, and people were saying, well, if you really think that the Raiders are, I mean, last year they might have been a walk in the park, it might have been a cakewalk. If you think that they did this year, they would have been a cakewalk team. And I think we gave them, you said 6 wins. I
Yeah, I
think.
believe 6 wins.
And I gave them around four, five, six, something like that. If they continue to do like that, I think at least for my part, I'm probably going to be a little bit horribly wrong in this case, though, too. Now that these pro.
Yeah, we'll see though. It's the first game of the season, so we have to put everything in perspective.
Exactly. Speaking of some more of the stuff here that we had in the first game of the season, had a great share of close games here, and I guess one of the games that kind of made us enjoyable here was the Cowboys game against the New York Giants. Here, Cowboys forced 6 turnovers, but yet the game was still pretty close at the end until Eli Manning throws a pick six and Cowboys won the game, keeping everybody still on their toes, thinking this is going to be the same old Cowboys.
Right, and it was pretty impressive for Dallas to get that win. Break the streak and of Dallas winning in the new stadium, and just an all around good game.
Right. I mean, and I think you had came over basically that same night, and you had saw this game, and you were thinking, and I'm pretty much tweeting. I'm thinking, well, here we go again. It's the same old team. I've seen this so many times. I mean, trust me, I am a Cowboys fan, but sometimes I can get a little bit realistic in this case too. And it had those same feelings of, oh my goodness, is the other shoe going to drop on the foot here? I mean, we got Eli Manning, which I know for the first 3 quarters he's pretty much not too good of a quarterback, but once it gets down to the fourth quarter, and when it kind of comes down to the times that to make it work, he really does a pretty good job. And to see that we turned out and we actually had ourselves a pretty good game out there, and like I said, 6 turnovers. Right now, it has the feeling here that Monte Kiffin, even though they did give up some big plays, Monte Kiffin, right now, it seems like he's still got it as the defense coordinator at 72 years old.
Right, and it's pretty impressive, and it's definitely I want to say how he does against Philadelphia because he had such a hard time stopping Oregon, but we're gonna see soon, and he looks like he has them ready to play so far. I give him that.
Right, and I mean, it's just that the case. I think that maybe in his case, and I have been keeping up on hope here, looking at the preseason games, thinking that maybe the college game was not him. I mean, I know it's as strange as it might seem because you might think, well, naturally, an NFL head coach or an NFL coach for that matter goes down a level to the college level. You would think that he would pretty much dominate in that level, but in his case, no, because I guess the college game is evolving a lot more. You see a lot more spread offenses and stuff like that. But I guess he's being back out there to where he belongs, kind of. in the NFL with the Tampa 2 defense and everything, with the cover 2, Tampa 2 defense. I mean, it really helped, and like you said, it showed out there today. It showed out there 6 turnovers and everything like that. Also, interesting thing that you did mention about the Philadelphia Eagles here too, and they really impressed me in the in the first Monday night game against the Redskins by Chip Kelly's offense going faster. And Chip Kelly actually, I think yesterday or today, he said that he thought that the Eagles were going slower in this case, and he wants them to go even faster. Thoughts about that?
That's pretty ambitious considering how quick they were to score this last Monday night. The only concern I have with that is Michael Vick is in his 30s now. He's getting a step older. Is he going to be able to do this every game? That's my only concern. And will it have a wear and tear on his body?
Yeah, and that really is going to be the case too, because we all know Michael Vick is injury prone and really hasn't played a full season, maybe except for probably one time. Don't quote me on that, but most of his years in the NFL right here have been injury plague, and all we just know is it takes that one good hit, and next thing you know, the Eagles season might go up in smoke. I mean, if Nick Foles can't do whatever he does, or what? So right now they look impressive, but it's still going to remain to see here how is that quick offense going to continue to go and all that stuff. Because once again, when you have something new here, and we've seen this with the Wildcat, and we've seen it recently also with the pistol offense too, that people that can't beat it right away, and all it just takes is that one good team, one good defense to beat certain thing like that, and then everybody else just takes notice.
Yeah, more film. Yeah, just more film on the said team, and just a scheme. All it takes is one set of film and just a scheme to stop it. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what team is going to do it first, but I mean, it can only last so long. Another thing about that game that impressed me more than the offense was Philly's defense.
Oh yes.
Now, granted, we still know RG3 might be a little rusty, coming from the injury, but it was pretty telling for him to throw 2 picks like that.
Yeah, and pretty early too, and it just seemed like as the game progressed, he got a little bit more comfortable in the game, but that was kind of more like garbage time in a way too. And it really looked. Even though the Eagles did win by 6 points, it did not look like out there watching it and stuff. It really did not look like a 6-point win, and it didn't feel like a 6-point win because it felt like the Eagles pretty much were dominating it for most of the game too. RG3, 30 for 49, 329 yards. Obviously, basically got most of his passing whenever the Skins were pretty much down and a little bit out in here. So I guess the main case here is this, like, are we going to see him getting back to what he was and all that, or what?
In due time. In due time, I think he's going to come around to what we saw from last year. But it's just going to take time. It's going to take time for him to get his rhythm back, and it's the injury to hold. But who knows?
Exactly. And especially he didn't have a preseason, so this kind of is a little bit of his preseason anyway. So there you go with that too. Another game here that pretty much, and we had some very close games here out there this year, but another one here, the Jets against the Buccaneers. Geno Smith actually had a pretty decent game here, 24 for 38, 256 yards, but led the Jets in the final drive. Well, actually was aided a little bit by the Buccaneers having personal foul penalty to put them in free field goal range, but a win's a win. The Jets won the game. They're 1-0 here. People are talking about also now about is Josh Freeman though a pretty decent quarterback for the Buccaneers, and if not, they might be looking to go elsewhere, like Mike Glennon as their 3rd round pick from Virginia Tech. So I mean, I don't know about that. Fifth year though for Josh Freeman. You think though that if he doesn't do it this year, could you imagine the Buccaneers probably going to a change?
I don't know. I think he's gonna get another chance due to them almost winning that game and them still having a chance to compete. We'll see how they do this week against the playoffs. I mean against the Saints because this is a team that that can compete. When they're back against the wall. And Josh Freeman, he's been with them. What, this is his fourth season?
Fifth season.
Fifth season. So we're going to see now if he can't. We're going to see a change eventually. But I think right now, for this season, his job is somewhat safe.
Yeah, I have to say I pretty much agree too. I'm not going to be one of those people that's probably going to be banging on the door, not quite yet, and saying that the Buccaneers should make a change. Has he been? Would you have liked to see a little bit more from him, considering of him being a first-round pick? Absolutely. But let's not forget, though. I mean, he did have them going a little bit close to the playoffs. I think in 2010 when they went 10-6 and barely missed the playoffs because of Green Bay getting a tiebreaker over them. So he still can be an effective quarterback in the league. And let's also just look here too. Like, he really doesn't have that many the weapons that he has around him. I mean, Doug Martin is pretty much it. The receivers that they have, Mike Williams, and I really can't name too many of their other receivers also. Here, maybe a part of that is to his own, but then again, I mean, if you don't have the receivers out there, how can he really do well though? I mean, that's another thing too. So, and let's see, another interesting game too was like seeing the Patriots and Bills, and I know we had kind of said it too. The Bills were going to be tough in the beat against the Patriots, and they always play against the Patriots very tough. But once again, it's just Brady in the last seconds.
Right, and E.J. Manuel, who had a great game, and I like it. I like the fact that he came out and he showed off his ability to run the ball, but also his passing ability. And I was fairly impressed. It was one of the most impressive rookie debuts we've seen this season from a quarterback.
Right. I mean, 18 for 27, 150 yards. Didn't really wow everybody with his stats, but yet he had the Bills in the game late, and that just really shows to me a whole lot too. And honestly, it really shows to be that this. I know it's not quite yet here at changing the guard, but put I guess Tom Brady and everybody else not quite yet, but Gino, EJ right there. They're probably going to be the new guys out there on the block, and it's going to be interesting to see whenever the Bills take on the Jets. So, and I guess another good game here that we had as well was the Niners-Packers game, where that was pretty close. Good game, 34-28 by the 49ers. But Colin Kaepernick wasn't running that much in this game, yet he still had 412 yards passing. But always the Mr. Reliable here, Anquan Bolden, 13 catches, 208 yards.
Right, definitely. Other than Kaepernick, the other MVP of this game, he showed just how valuable he was and important he was in that Baltimore offense. And a great game. Some people would say that Green Bay kind of got screwed. That with that one play. I think the out of bounds play, and then those.
Yeah, the Clay Matthews.
Yeah, just a lot of things going in that game that some people say Green Bay should have gotten the edge, but whatever, things happen. And once again, San Francisco gets another win over the Green Bay Packers, and once again, Green Bay doesn't have an answer.
Right, and Green Bay's main answer in this game was to try to go out there, stop the run, stop the 49ers from running the football. And they did a pretty decent job at that because they held Frank Gore to 44 yards, and they held Colin Kaepernick from, really running the ball and stopping the run option. But the problem is, good, you stop the run, but you also got to worry about him throwing the football too. And effectively, they couldn't do that, and that's pretty much going to be on their mindsets whenever they get ready to play against them whenever they get ready to play against them, possibly in the playoffs, because I got a good feeling these two teams are going to meet each other in the playoffs.
Right, and it seems like this might happen.
Right. So, and we have that, and I guess we still have and some other good performances too. But really, give us your good points and give us your bad points this week of the season.
I would like to say I'm definitely comfortable with the pass-happy offenses. I'm definitely happy with the high scoring. It's made for exciting games. Another thing what I'm not happy about is some of these flags we've seen for some of these hits. I still think it's unfair to take away such an important aspect of the game from defenders and whatnot, because it definitely changes the game and it makes it more offense friendly. It's part of the reason why we have so much offense explosion. But those would be my 2 points. What about you?
I'd say the good right here is pretty much going to be. I was really impressed about how some of the teams that we were talking about as probably bottom feeders, how well that they did, how well that they did this season. I mean, in these games, I know the Bills, like we said, the Bills didn't win, but they looked very good in defeat. The Jets got themselves a win. The Detroit Lions actually looked very good too, and I mean, they really made Reggie Bush look like a very good player with 90 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving. So, and also the Saints, because, getting Sean Payton back really energized them. I'd say the bad was probably a team like the Steelers, which I know they were going to have a little bit of a bad season, but I didn't expect them to lose to the Titans in game one like that. And just to get outworked pretty much, only getting 195 yards in the whole game. That's really not Steelers ball. And the Jaguars putting up only 2 points, which I can already tell this is going to be a long season for the Jags.
Long season. See you in the draft room. See you in the war room.
Exactly. Blaine Gafford pretty much going to be getting ready to pack his bags on his way out.
And possibly Maurice Jones-Drew behind him.
Oh, yeah. I could just only imagine him. I can only imagine him possibly wanting to trade, if not this offseason, during the season. And if we don't see too much trading going on, but it's possible he pretty much could ask for a trade and some team might offer and something like that. But I got a feeling that he might stand pat. But yeah, it's going to be very possible here, and to see what's going to happen, and hopefully he lines himself up in a better situation. And if not, well, I don't know what to tell y'all. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a 30-second break, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about, give y'all our predictions for next week. And then also talk about what's going on in the college football world as well. Big game between Alabama and Texas A&M. Manziel against Saban, Part 2. So we will be right back in 30 seconds. All right, and we're back with the Gafford and Brown Show, and like we said, we had ourselves a very good first segment recapping the games out here too. If you ever want to chime in, like you said, there's a comment box on the lower right. Chime in, basically say whatever you want, opinionate, get your opinions out there. Tweet us as well, Primetime2832 or Uptown Bobby, or either Skype us at Primetime32 or call us at 318-572-0078 if you want your voice to be heard on here as well. But as we kind of alluded to, starting off now, week 2 of the season, and I guess we start off with pretty much a bang here. Jets versus the Patriots, rivalry game. Geno Smith against Tom Brady, old guard, new kid on the block here. That game's going to be on the NFL Network. I guess right now we just start off here with our prediction segment. Who do you think's going to win that game?
I think New England by 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Jets might keep it competitive with a few big plays in there, but I think New England at the end of the day.
Yeah, the line right now, New England by 12. I'll say New England by 10. I just can't see the Jets really going out here. It's going to be a little bit of a pressure here for Geno Smith in a short week, as that too, for him to try to get adjusted to the NFL and stuff. So I think the Patriots are going to give him that real dose of reality for right now. Cowboys having to travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs.
This might be a surprise game, right? I think this might be a trap game for Dallas. I think it might be an early trap game, and I think Kansas City steals one with a field goal.
You already know who I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to say I'll go with the Cowboys, but I will also say, though, it's going to be close. Like you said, the Chiefs, they really did not look too bad in that game against Jacksonville. Held them down to 2 points. Andy Reid has these boys playing pretty well, but I think the Cowboys are going to win this game by about 3 points. St. Louis, the Rams traveling to Atlanta to play against the Falcons, who are reeling off of a loss.
I think Atlanta wins, but I would not be shocked whatsoever if they didn't win. But I'm gonna pick Atlanta. I think they're gonna save face coming out to that game.
I think I'm gonna go with Atlanta too. Normally, with Mike Smith as the head coach, they really bounce back very well. And I think given their injury situation to Julio Jones, who did not have a very good performance in the game last week, I think he bounces back and he pretty much does well. So I say the Falcons going to win this game. Carolina traveling up to Buffalo as both teams are trying to get themselves a win here with these two young quarterbacks of Cam Newton and EJ Manuel.
I'm going to go with... Dang, this is hard. I'm going to go with Buffalo. I think Buffalo gets the win. I think Cam is going to have it close. He's going to hold him in, but I think Buffalo just showed me a lot on their offense, and if they can get the running game going, I think they could explode.
Let's see. I'd hate to be cliche about this, but I'm going to go with the home team in this one. It's close game here, but I just think here Buffalo has it right now. The Panthers, I got to give them props for their game against the Seattle Seahawks, but I also have to say, though, too, that maybe it was kind of the Seahawks from them having to travel from west to east and have them having to be up early. So I pretty much going to go ahead and say the Bills are going to win this game, and because I was really impressed with how they did against the Patriots. Right. Vikings at Bears.
I'm going Chicago. I might go Chicago with that by at least 2 touchdowns. I just don't think Minnesota right now, I don't think they've found necessarily their balance of a running pass. I think they still rely too much on Adrian Peterson. And that one big play last week was really all he had.
Yeah, And and I guess this is the first time we're gonna disagree here this week. I'm gonna go ahead and say the Vikings gonna win this game. Yeah, even though Peterson he carried that first carry of the season for 78 yards and didn't do too much afterwards. I do think that the Vikings are pretty much going to win the game. They're going to try to contain, run the football and stuff. Hopefully that they can try to get the Bears and have them stopping, and have them have less time for possession and stuff. Impressed with the Bears how they performed against the Bengals, but I really think that the Vikings are going to go ahead and pull this one out. Two more disparate teams that are trying to not start off 0-2. Washington is traveling up to Green Bay to take on the Packers.
I think Green Bay wins that. We still have to see what RG3 gets back in the rhythm. And that Green Bay game was way too close for me to discount them against Washington.
Right. Hate to say it, RG3. I think you're going to start off 0-2. Packers, they're going to win this game, and they're probably going to win this game a little bit handedly here. I'd say by, if not a touchdown or even greater. Dolphins traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts as the battle of the two rookie class of 2012 quarterbacks, Tannehill against Luck.
This is going to be a good game. I think God, it's hard. I'm gonna have to go with Miami. I'm going with Miami.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think they're probably gonna go out here and be 2-0. Even though they did have a comeback in this game, I still think Luck, 18 for 23, hasn't really lost a beat here in this game in this season. So I really like how they performed here. Hopefully, though, we can see a little bit more out of Mike Wallace in this next game, though. I think we would both pretty much would love to see that. Two teams that competed against each other, that competed on Monday Night Football, take on each other this week. San Diego's traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles.
I think Philly. I give the edge to Philly right now. That's going to be a high-scoring game, by the way, but I think Philly will edge them out due to how tired San Diego defense got against Houston. And I think if anybody's going to time them out, it would be Philly's offense.
Yeah, Philadelphia pretty much. It's gonna be a tough one here. I think so much speed gonna be out there here with D Jackson, Vic, and Shady McCoy. The Chargers either might get tired early or they might get tired late, and it's pretty much gonna be Eagles in this case. Browns, Ravens, both of these teams gonna try to get the AFC North their first win of the season here. Somebody's got to do it.
I'm going with Cleveland. I'm going with Cleveland this game. I'm going to say Cleveland by a touchdown.
Ravens here. Cleveland, though, will make it close, of course. Here, I was not impressed, really, by Brandon Whedon here with his 3 interceptions, but pretty much in this case, he's all they got. And if he doesn't shape up, I mean, he possibly could be on the way out, too. But you also got to think, is Flacco's arm really holding up after throwing 62 passes against Denver?
Right. I think they return back to the run game. I think Cleveland. I think Cleveland has the upset. I just think that they can get it done.
Tennessee travels to Houston to take on the Texans.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say Tennessee wins.
Hey,
Tennessee with the upset. I think they can do it. It's early in the season. Why not?
Yeah, and that could possibly happen. I think the Texans got this game, though. But if you are a Texans fan, I would just say this, though. You being down 28-7 to the Chargers, that kind of has me a little bit of cause for concern right now. We already could just say here that pretty much Texans fans are starting to be a little bit like the Dallas fans here, thinking Schaub's a little bit like Romo. So, like we said, this is the season for him. When can it be? Lions traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals.
I'm going with Arizona. Arizona gets their first win of the season.
Yeah, I think Arizona too. Palmer and Fitzgerald showed that they really had a good rapport with each other. It's going to be only in a matter of time, and I think this is going to be the first win of this. This is going to be their first win of the season here. Saints traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers.
I'm going with the Saints, but however, I wouldn't be shocked if Tampa Bay got that win. But I'll pick New Orleans.
Saints. Rob Ryan's going to put a lot of pressure on the Buccaneers. Bucks, though, will make this close. But I think Saints at the end of the day. Jaguars and Raiders, and who could be getting the number one pick of the draft.
I'm gonna go out on and say Oakland. I'm picking Oakland. I think Jacksonville has a lot. Still has a lot to show us where you can play in real faith. Score 2 points.
Right. Jacksonville's going to win the. I'm getting the number one pick. In other words, they're going to lose this game. So, really impressed by Terrell Pryor. That game against Indianapolis just showed me a whole lot here. And I think if he continues to do well, he could be the guy here. Jacksonville, yeah. Have a nice time. Have a nice season. Your Broncos traveling to New York to play against the Giants in Manning Bowl 3.
I'm picking Denver with the win just because I think I think New York has some issues right now. That front four they have still intimidating, but I just think Denver has enough firepower to keep Eli off the field.
I've learned one thing, to never really count against the Giants after an embarrassing loss, but the Broncos are an elite team. They are an elite team, and I'm not going to say here that Peyton is going to throw 7 touchdowns against the Giants, but Peyton's going to have himself a big game here. Peyton goes ahead. He wins Manning Bowl 3. Broncos win this game.
All right.
Great game on Sunday Night Football. Niners traveling up to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Loser of this game, either Kaepernick or Wilson, possibly could have one less eyebrow. Who's going to win the game?
I'm going to go with the Niners. I'm going to go with the Niners to win. I'm going to say by a touchdown. Probably a close game. Probably like a 17-10 game. Something like that. What about you?
For cause of this here, I'm gonna be a little bit different than you, and I'm gonna go ahead and say the Seahawks wins this game. I think they bounced back from what they did last week. I think Russell Wilson's gonna have himself a pretty decent game, but this is expect the game here kind of like the same, kind of like those Ravens Steelers games from back in the 2000s here. Probably with a little bit more offense. I say Seahawks probably going to go ahead and win this game 24-21. And Monday Night Football, Steelers traveling to Cincinnati to play against the Bengals.
I'm going to go with Cincinnati right now.
Yeah, I can't see them going on 2. I really can't see them going on 2 because if that happens, I can just only imagine right now the backlash here. Pittsburgh, they look very old right now, and I don't know how many healthy bodies they got out there because Marquise Pouncey's out, Rod Stevens howling. They're both done for the season. Bengals basically by them having more healthy bodies out there on the field. And so the next. And now we just shift our focus right now to the college football ranks here. And basically we had ourselves some pretty decent games last week. And we're also going to go to the games this week too. But last week here, I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but Miami against Florida.
Yeah, that was definitely a disappointing loss for Florida, and you definitely got to see Driscoll get exposed. Well, I mean, not necessarily exposed. A lot of people kind of, said he was a limited quarterback anyway. However, it definitely put Miami back in the hunt
for a possible BCS bid if they can win the ACC. Definitely let people know that they're trying to make a return back to their quote unquote glory days. So we get to see them come back into the fold and just show up and be the type of team that people expect them to be.
Right. Then right now the 15 ranking here that they got, I mean, I think they were ranked pretty fairly. Um, right now, even though the point here we're still trying to figure out what's going to be their sanctions, and I got a feel that the NCAA is not going to come down on them anyway. Period. But
Talking about Miami, Oklahoma State, or
Miami,
oh,
Miami, the sections that they've been trying to
oh,
figure out
okay,
for the
okay.
past couple of years here. But right now, I think Miami, they set themselves up pretty nicely here. They got that win, and right now it's kind of looking like here they might not lose until they play against maybe I don't know, maybe Georgia Tech, maybe North Carolina, or heck, even when they get to Florida State. I think they set themselves up pretty nicely this season. Like you said, we get to see them back on the fray, and a lot of people were just wondering how well they're going to be and how well they're going to do and everything, too. So I guess we get the chance to see and hear what can they do. I think for Florida in that case here too, like you said, Driscoll, he has struggled a little bit in the game, and just right now to basically just something's got to work. I know Florida's playing against Tennessee, I think, this weekend, right?
Right.
So, Florida, I think they get the chance they'll bounce back in that too. But, kind of a bad game, a little bit of a tough loss for them. But, I think they will go ahead and bounce back too.
Yeah, a lot of upsets that week, especially with Texas losing to BYU.
Oh man, not just losing, but just getting gashed by
Right.
BYU. 40-21, Texas falls out of the top 25 as well, and it looks like right now. And speaking of another team here, Washington State lose to USC 10-7 in a surprisingly low scoring Pac-12 game. Good question here. Which coach do you think is going to be fired, and who's in more disarray, Texas or USC?
I would say USC, but at the same time, USC did lose a lot of scholarships and did get a lot of penalties from the NCAA. When you have Texas, who they still have Texas, the state as far as recruiting goes, the pretty much the face of the Big 12 next to Oklahoma. So I think Texas might be closer to letting parting ways with Mac Brown simply because it's just been a while since they've been competitive. I don't think they've been you say competitive when they played Alabama in
Right.
2009 or 10, I believe. So yeah, I think it might be Mac Brown.
And yeah, I think so too. Even though they both really it really looks like it's pretty much a push in this case here. But if I had to be a betting man, it has to be Texas, because that decline that they've really had has been just shocking to me. Because, like you said, 13. I think the 12-0 season, 13-0 season, playing in the Pac-12, playing the Big 12 championship game, and then it just seemed like it went down after that. Colt McCoy gets hurt. Next thing you know, you got Garrett Gilbert out there. They lose here. The following season, they did not go to a bowl game. The last two seasons really have been kind of slow and have not been that good for them or anything else like that. So right now, I guess pretty much if somebody's going to have to fall on the sword. And another good case here too, and a lot of people have said this, really Mac Brown has not evaluated too much talent, especially at the quarterback position.
Right, and that's what it's looking like right now. I think that's why they might just think about moving on to maybe a younger coach, somebody that's more interested in building quarterbacks and just
Just probably building a defense because they haven't been able to stop anyone in a long time.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, BYU 550 yards rushing. I mean, that's just to me right there. That's really unacceptable. And you let a quarterback get 200 of those off of you. That's unacceptable if you're Texas. That's unacceptable if you're anybody, but especially if you're Texas, that's unacceptable because, like you said, you're getting the better program, you're getting the better teams, and the better prospects out there too. Some more games here that were actually pretty good this week. Michigan beating Notre Dame 41-30.
Yeah, that was kind of telling. I didn't expect Michigan to lose, but I wasn't necessarily surprised.
Right. I did pick Notre Dame in that game, but right now Michigan really showed a lot out of this one with Devin Gardner, and I think this was a cool tribute that he had too, wearing the number 98 for the former Heisman Trophy player. It was a pretty good game for him. 4 touchdowns, 41-30. Michigan got themselves now up there in the top 20. Got themselves up there in the top 15, very close to the top 10. So, gonna be interesting to see what they do this season. I think they got themselves though a pretty good team. They could be one of those teams that could give Ohio State a decent challenge, but we'll see about that. And I think another good game here by the same identical 41-30 score that Georgia bounces back nicely and beats South Carolina.
Right, and South Carolina's a team that's looking like they might have a bit of an identity issue coming into this early season. And Georgia, this is really a must-win if they want to, keep their season alive.
Right, and to have that win, and I think in the case here, if you're South Carolina, you're not going to be mad by losing this game, but having your coaches fight on the sideline and also trying to shake back the identity that you've had over the past couple of years of being good, but then gets to be a little bit of a problem here. And I know Jadeveon Clowney, the guy's a beast, he's an animal, but then again, sometimes he does get fatigue issues too. But I think that comes with the nature here too. And like I said, both of these teams, I think they're still going to be right around there. And Georgia got themselves a pretty good game, and they did pretty well too. So you pretty much had that. And I think all of that was telling here too. And any more games out here in the top, pretty much in the FBS here that we're looking at, I think everything just went just business as usual in this season and so far in this week, because there wasn't really too many close games out there.
Right.
So I guess right now we just go ahead and just pick the games here for the next week. Well, for this coming week here. If I can just get ready to go ahead. And I guess the first game really that's on our mind here is going to be Texas A&M against Alabama, games in College Station.
Man, this is going to be a good one. I'm going to go with Bama this time. Bama gets their revenge. I think it'll be a close game. I just think Bama just has that bitter taste in their mouth. I think they come out to punch them in the face, basically.
2 words: Roll Tide. Roll Tide. I just think, like you said, for that same reason here too. I think Bama. I can't see Nick Saban losing 2 times in a row to anybody, and I think he's going to have his boys out there prepared, a little bit more prepared out there. And also, you have yourself a bye week. You had yourself a bye week last week. So, that's pretty much going to be a piece right there for them. So, Bama wins this game, and they're going to pretty much go out there and they're going to win this one close, I'd say by a touchdown or so. Some more games here that's happening. Let's see. UCLA is taking on Nebraska. This game is going to be pretty early. This game is going to be on ABC. And this game is in Nebraska. Thoughts about that one?
I'll pick Nebraska.
Let's see. I think Yeah, Nebraska. Nebraska. I think Nebraska's going to go ahead and win this game. UCLA is probably not going to be used to being up this early. So I think Nebraska's going to go ahead and win this game. Even though UCLA has really impressed, has had some impressive games, has done a decent job this season. I think Nebraska's going to go out here, gash them a little bit with the running game. Let's see here. Some more games here. This big time games that's happening this week. Here, let's see, Tennessee and Oregon here. Even though Oregon is not, even though Tennessee is still trying to get up there, and Oregon really looks like they haven't slowed down a beat here.
Right. I think taking Oregon this week.
Yeah, well, I think Oregon pretty much that's going to be a handily victory here for them. Let's see, some more decent games out here. Ole Miss against Texas.
Mm, I haven't seen Ole Miss this year, but man, Texas looks so horrible against BYU. I can't go against them. I pick Ole Miss.
Sorry to my cousin. I gotta go with Ole Miss too until otherwise. I have to Texas until you show me here the quarterback situation. I think that is pretty much going to be just gonna have to go ahead and just say here it's gonna be Texas. I mean not Texas. It's gonna have to be Ole Miss in this case. So Ole Miss gonna go out there. They win this game, and I think they got this one pretty much in the bag. And also another surprising thing here, and I know this is the FBS here, but big changes at Grambling too.
Yeah, Doug Williams out, and shocking that it happened today of all days, but definitely something to think about. And you also wondered the fate of his son.
Right, and you would think that he probably had the starting quarterback job mostly because of his dad, but it's just shocking here to see how far Grambling has came in this season because just 2 years ago they won the SWAC West and they were in the SWAC championship game, and now the last season was bad. It was a bad year for them. It's just crazy here. What baffled me is the timing of the whole thing. I mean, you lost to ULM, but why fire the coach right now? I mean, really, it just seemed like, well, why now of all time here? I mean, couldn't you have waited a little bit more into the season before you got to fire them or something? But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's just was me right there, and I just really don't know in this case too. So I just hope here that Grambling can just bounce back and maybe get themselves back here out there. So. And we'll go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second break, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about what else is going on in the sports world today as well, and also trying to go back to remembering ourselves back in that 9/11 day here, since it is 9/11 12 years ago. So this is the Gafford and Brown Show. All right, we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show, and guess what? We have ourselves a special guest.
Yes, the one and only Clarence Sellers.
Hello, gentlemen. How's it going? It's been a while, but
We got to talk about that Minnesota-Detroit game. And we got to talk about your first impressions of the 2013-14 Minnesota Vikings. Now, after that first play, many of us were excited. Many of us were expecting blowout. And many of us were expecting AP to just go off. And some of that happened and some of that didn't happen. Now, give me your thoughts on that game. Well, give me your thoughts on that first play. When that play happened, what were your initial thoughts?
oh man, obviously, just walked into the sports bar, sat down, and when I saw it again, I was almost amazed. I was like, well, I don't think he did something too spectacular. Yeah, I mean, he made about 100 yards. And he obviously broke 79 yards, and I'm going, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, this it's Detroit, so it's like, good, we're gonna win, okay, fine, touchdown, good. Now I think here's the thing with this game here. Obviously, Christian Ponder he's taking a lot of heat in Minnesota. I know that right now. Here's the thing with this. There's three things that happened in this game that lost. I think obviously for Adrian Peterson to break off that big touchdown run, Detroit botched a field goal. So that was one thing that would have made that play very special. That it came off the Detroit botched field goal. So I guess you can technically call that a turnover. I don't know how they do it statistic wise. Ponder's first interception obviously came, I believe, the next series after that, where it was a slant play to Jerome Simpson, and it bounced off the shoulder and an interception, and it was going to be a pick six. Until your boy Stu decided he wanted to, try to hit an offensive lineman because he did that, which I thought was absolutely stupid for him to do it. I don't know if you guys talked about the big fine yet, but whatever. But it's the second interception. If I were to show you guys the replays of all that and the everything, it was first and 10. This was after that interception. They actually called that interception back to where Sue made the chopping block, the chop block ability, and they went back 15 yards from there. Stanford came back following series to an interception for the Vikings, so that kind of took Christian Ponder off the hook on that interception. The one interception that I thought lost the game, it was 14-6 at this point, was it's first down, Ponder rolls to his left, he just throws the football to I really don't want to think about it anymore because it's really gonna make me want. It took me to today to want to talk about this, but
oh man.
He rolled to his left and threw it on the first. It was first and 10 when he could have just took the sack. I thought that series was big because obviously had the Vikings scored in that series, it would have been 17-6, or it would have been 21-6, and at that point that game's over. I think that takes Reggie Bush completely out as far as running the ball. It forces them to just pass, and I think defensively we were doing okay, although our biggest weakness on defense is linebackers, and right now, although it is Reggie Bush, so I'm not too enthused about it. I mean, it is Reggie Bush at the end of the day, it is what it is. Reggie's gonna do that. I'm not, too panicky about it, but that's an issue we have to worry about. Of course, Detroit came down, scored before halftime. They got the ball back at halftime. Well, we went 3 and out to get the ball back at halftime. They took the ball back down to the field, scored again, and they went up 20-14, and then that pretty much was the game.
Right, and I know tough loss here too, but you guys get a chance to play against Chicago, get a chance to get bounced back right here. Your thoughts about that game and how good do you think that they, you think they could? I know you got to think. I know you're thinking that they're going to bounce back here, but how well do you think they're going to go out there and perform in that game?
Well, obviously, against the Bears. I mean, the Bears has been to me the most. You can't really tell about the Bears right now. they remember they just came off a regime with Lovie Smith that was almost 8 years. That you knew defensively you're gonna have a problem. You know, from the most part, their defense still looked kind of stout here and there, but I think I wasn't able to watch really all of these. And again, I watched some of the game, but AJ Green, for the most part, torched that secondary. I think a good game from Jerome Simpson that we had last week. Can that carry over? If that does, I think we have a very great chance. Ray Jennings, of course, has to step up well, which obviously against Chicago, that's like his boy. So those certain things. And then with Adrian Peterson, I think again our biggest problem, obviously, is which Christian Ponder I'm getting this weekend, and it's boiling down to which Ponder am I going to get. If Christian doesn't go out there and make boneheaded mistakes, we have a great chance of going there. I think we're pretty much getting ready to be doing it there. I think offensively for Chicago, our biggest issue is can we stop Brandon Marshall? Now I think for the most part last week we did a pretty good job on Calvin Johnson. So again with Brandon Marshall, you're pretty much playing a same stick. With you had Stafford with pretty much a strong arm, and his guys versus now you have Jay Cutler and his guy, which is Brandon Marshall. So with strong arm and all this and that. Now one thing we did with Jay Cutler last time was they able to turn him over at the Metrodome. We was able to turn him over with 3 interceptions. So the question is, can we get Cutler in the Cutler? If we can get that Jay Cutler and we can get the Christian Ponder of not last week together in one game, we may have a good chance of winning. But if not, it's a tough scenario here. This game right here was the one game I was more afraid of than the last week, because I felt like this was the one we had to win doing it. And I think now, most certainly, the schedule makers didn't like us, because if we lose this game, it's 0-2, and it's 0-2 in the division, and boy, that's a double whammy if anything. So, the keys to the game is, like I said, we know Chicago's going to do everything in their power to stop Adrian Peterson. I think at this point now, they would rather have Christian Ponder destroy them than have Adrian Peterson. And that's where we hope Christian at least put a decent game together. We're not asking to win it, but at least put a good, decent game together.
Right, and also I guess pretty much like we were going here. What was the worst? Like, what would you take out the most of week 1, and what would you also take out the most take away from week 1 as being worse?
Well, the best thing, I think, there's a couple of best things. I think, obviously, if you're a San Francisco fan, you really got to be, well, obviously, you're playing against the Green Bay Packers. I think that, obviously, that game right there was a pretty good game. And I think that if you're a Niners fan, you're taking out of this, and you're going, we got Anquan Bolden for a 6th rounder, and wait a minute, we got Anquan Bolden for a 6th rounder? Wow. If he can play like this all season, yeah, you have to certainly say that team has to go back to the Super Bowl. So I think that's good right there. Another good I'm going to add, I'll give you 2 for this instance. And we were tweeting on this on Monday night, me and you, Lamar. Vic looks very comfortable. This is maybe, I think for the first time, I think Vic might be screaming at the gods, going, where was Chip Kelly all my career? Where was he at all my life? Because he looked very comfortable back there. Now I know Washington started hitting them, in the second half. I think Jim Hadley pretty much found some way to get at him on that defense. But I think for the most part, if Vic does stay healthy this year, that Eagle team looks a lot dangerous in a division that, outside of you guys, Lamar, it's not that competitive. Now the worst is it's going to be a game related to you, and that's Eli Manning and the Giants.
Oh man.
Oh God. Oh man. It's David Wilson. God bless his soul. That game was. Although it ended out okay, that game had to be terrible to watch. That's just terrible to the eyes to watch the first half of that game. Especially if you're a Giants fan. I think another other big negative is just I didn't really get a chance to watch the Houston San Diego games. I can't really say that. But from what I heard, the Rivers it might be over for him.
Epic collapse.
It might be over for him. Because I heard he in the fourth quarter he didn't show up at all. It wasn't working. It just didn't do it. It didn't do well. But no, actually, I will say that the Jacksonville Jaguars, I was able to watch that game, watch most of that game as well as my game. You know, oh my God, Blaine Gafford.
Man.
Oh man.
God.
Yep.
I have never seen worse quarterback. I mean, he made Christian Ponder look like, you know, I was ready to just accept the 3 interceptions Ponder threw from what Blaine Gabbert did. Those were just terrible interceptions that Blaine Gabbert threw, and I think, man, if that whole organization, I don't think they're gonna go with 16, but boy, that took them 14. I think I had them winning about 6 games. You know, in my quick previews, I tried to do this year. Well, that's gonna be a tough 6 games for them to win.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. Man, if they win more than 3, it'd be a miracle for them. And I'm being serious about that because.
You know what, you're right, LeVar. You're right. Man, I've never seen a court play that badly. Like that was horrible.
Yeah, Chad Henne. When you got Chad Henne breathing down your neck, it's not good.
Rob, I don't know. Yeah, the Blaine Gabbert experience over here in Jacksonville. Hey, you know, I'm defending him. I've defended him a lot of times. The Blaine Gabbert experiment is over.
Yeah. It failed miserably.
Right. In this case, if I'm the Jaguars, I pretty much would have to go ahead, cut my losses, hope for Teddy, hope for Taj, hope for Manziel, just hope for anybody that just come out there and just say that they want to be on the team.
Outside of Teddy Bridgewater, if you're the Jags, do you? Unless you get, I guess this time they won't have to trade up to get the pick. So yeah, I guess in that sense, yeah, you do go and draft another first-round quarterback. You know, it's like, okay, how do we know he's not going to turn out like the other guy? You know, you got to have that thought process. But, you know, I mean, it's tough there. I mean, they could also stout their defense, just go out to clown you, you know. But, I mean, yeah, that's a tough scenario to be in right now.
It really is. And crazy thing is, I had Jags fans in my mentions last week when I was just laughing. I think I was listening to the Jay Mariotti show, and him saying that why don't they move them to Europe? And I'm saying, no, they're not going to go to Europe. They should be moved to L.A. And this some Jags fan, I don't know how he found my mentions from a day before, but he was like, no, they're not going to be moving to L.A. or anywhere. They're going to stay in Jacksonville. I'm like,
I'm gonna say this. I'll say this, and I've been here for a while in Jacksonville. Their fan base is not as bad as you guys think. I think that they suffer from playing in a very big stadium because you gotta realize Everbank Field was built primarily the way that it was built was for the Jaguars, but it was also built for that Florida Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
They redid it based off of that game right there. That game. Yeah, it's serious down here. With that one, but that's primarily what that's for. And in the bowl games, of course, they play the Gator Bowl and all that. So primarily, I think they suffer from being in a stadium that's too big for the franchise that's open right now. I think if they were in a 75,000 some seat stadium, they would be okay. They would actually be okay. I mean, I'm surprisingly just living here for a while. There's a lot more here than the national media knows. I think. Nationally, they're not doing well now.
And they had some glory years. People forget this was an expansion team that had some of the best years. They've had more wins and playoff appearances than some established franchises. I mean, Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor, Byron Leftwich,
David
Garrard experiment, Maurice Jones-Drew first couple of years. They were. I mean, they've had some flashes of brilliance.
So I mean, it's just
it's gonna get back to, and I think that's where the fans. And I kind of, you kind of understand it from a fan's perspective. Like, well, hey, we're retired. This is rebuilding, so we want to get back to winning football games. And, it shows that. I mean, they haven't had a blackout here in a while. So they haven't had a blackout here. I think in almost 3 years. So I think the national media is pouncing on one little thing, and they just pouncing on it. And it's like, it's not a bad. They just have to win games. And I think I made the thing last year with the whole Tim Tebow. Let's get Tim Tebow. Then let's get Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow's not going to help the team right now. I can tell you that right now. Blaine Gafford is. I mean, Tebow. I mean, okay, you can bring him here if you want to and let him play. He's going to look a lot like Blaine Gafford eventually. That's the point I was trying to make. But they got to get a team here. That's all. But that was terrible, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. That was just terrible to watch.
I can really only imagine out there too about how terrible that was. It just sounded bad. Let's just go ahead and say that. It just sounded bad.
I mean, they had a block. I mean, they went up 2-0. They had a block kick. So Gabbard just. I mean, there was one interception there right here. I'm talking about he sticks to his back. He just drops back, throws it. And I mean, the Kansas City linebacker, I mean, he's looking at it the whole time. And I know, he saw. You had to have seen that guy standing right there in the flat. You don't throw that. He just threw it. That was just terrible. But like I said, him and Eli Manning, I don't know what the hell happened between those two guys. I don't know if Eli, and I hate to say that, Eli was going into his 8th, 9th season that he had the butterflies in his stomach or something like that. It just kind of seemed like that against he had the butterflies in his stomach or something like that. Like, dude, what are you doing? But yeah, in that case, David Wilson was, I think, he's gonna be sitting in Tom Coughlin's doghouse for a while. So
It just, I think when I saw that second fumble, actually maybe when I saw that first fumble, and it's pretty much was one of the reasons why I didn't draft him for my fantasy team, and I was happy to realize my opponent had David Wilson, because I'm thinking, yes, I have. It just reminded me of going back to that Bomani and Jones episode where it was talking about the five guys that people really hated, and especially the fumbling running, and talking about David Wilson. And absolutely, I was just thinking David Wilson was going to do that, and lo and behold, he did that.
quite a few times. So what do you guys take on this weekend's big showdown in College Station?
I'm taking Bama. I think Bama. Nick Saban doesn't really like losing more than he's all over revenge.
I promise you, Robert, he had this game circled for quite some time.
Right, exactly.
They're playing like this ain't a revenge game. No, I think he got this one circled last year. You sure caught me off surprise last year. You damn sure not gonna do it again this year.
Exactly.
You ain't hit me this time, Johnny Football.
Right. And I just think, I think he's gonna be prepared. I think he's definitely gonna be prepared this time, and they're gonna be ready. But at the same time, I mean, College Station, don't Texas A&M fans are tense, and that crowd's gonna be crazy. But I can't pick against a pissed off Nick Saban.
That's the thing right there. It's again that was the classic. You say your classic trap game. That was the trap game at its finest last year. Now you're not trapping me again this year. Now, hey, if Johnny Football pulls this one off, this could erase a lot of what he's done over the last couple of months. This could pretty much eliminate all what he's done the last few months.
He's definitely cemented as a legend. You have to say a legend damn near. He definitely cemented his legacy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you beat the big boys twice. The 2 times you played them, you beat them twice.
Twice.
Yes.
The only thing you can knock him for is not winning a national title if he pulls this off.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I put him in the driver's seat. Put them in the driver's seat. I think they'll put him in the driver's seat because they wouldn't have to worry about Jordan or anything like that.
Right.
Florida, Jesus. Hey, can I put that on one of the worst things I saw this weekend as well? Driscoll.
Man, Driscoll makes Chris leak. He makes me miss Chris Lee. He makes me miss the hell out of Chris Lee. Man, yeah, he's horrible. I just didn't think he would be that bad this year. I thought he would improve because last year he was pretty bad. But I thought he would improve this year. But no such thing.
There's some Gator fans I haven't seen yet since Saturday.
Man.
I haven't seen yet. They took that one a little hard this weekend.
It was humbling. It was humbling because we're talking so much smack about Miami. You know, Miami's pretty much been off the radar. I'm gonna say since they lost to Ohio State back in 03.
You're right.
Yeah.
And it started the downward trend. You know, you had Brock Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's just been bad. Then all the sanctions and the bad conduct, all that stuff, and to see them come back against Florida like that and beat them, I mean, man. So if they beat Florida State this year, it's definitely going to be they're definitely going to be talking about the U's back. You think you're hearing it now, but man.
Well, I don't know. They got to go against Florida State, and if they clear all that, most likely them Clemson and Florida State are pretty much going to be what's coming out of that whole conference right there. So
Right. If they win the ACC,
they have to play Florida State. I believe they play in a few weeks.
right?
So
They win the ACC, they definitely will have the nation's attention again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they can pull that Florida State one off, I think that puts them in the driver's seat. I mean, I remember looking at Clemson's schedule; they pretty much have a pretty much easy way all the way to the ACC championship game or whatever. So that's interesting right there. Though. Yeah,
Right.
that was another thing. I was like, what is he doing? He made Blaine Gabbert look. It's him and Blaine Gabbert for having a competition to see how many interceptions they can throw this week.
Oh man.
How many bad interceptions they can throw this week? All like this. Yeah, that. Well, for the good news is at least you know South Carolina laws, Georgia laws, and Florida laws. So at least you're back to square one. You're back to square one on that one. But I was just killing Aaron Murray, and then he played well last week. So.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much that whole East is just gonna be a tough one. That whole
It
East.
is. Well, for UGA, it is Georgia. Because I mean, Jesus Christ, with that freshman defense, they still got LSU. They still got Florida. They still got Auburn. And then if they pass all that, they have to play Alabama just to see a national championship.
Right, and LSU's a team I think people are kind of I don't want to say sleeping on, but kind of forgetting about it because
Dark horse.
Mettenberger's looking pretty good. He looks like he's improved. He reminds me. He got those Flacco qualities to him. Big arm.
I don't think it's LSU. Everybody's concerned with the team. I think it's the guy who.
Oh yeah. Big money list. Man. Sports Illustrated, man. They
what do you call them? CFI.
Oh man. Have you read the issue yet, Clarence?
What was that?
Have you read the issue yet?
What?
The Sports Illustrated, dropping that bomb on Les. The Oklahoma State story.
Actually, I haven't yet. No.
No, I haven't read
I
it
haven't
yet
either.
but it's crazy. The allegations are crazy.
Oh, the one at OK State.
Yeah, and Les was the guy behind it. Apparently, when he took over.
Yeah, I think when they tried to put that all on Gundy or something, I was like, wait a minute, he wasn't even around when this happened. He wasn't even around when this happened. What about this Lane Kiffin thing? Like, I mean, how long before USC just really pulled the plug?
This has to be it.
Last season.
This has to be the last season.
And secondly, add on to this question, who's gonna? Does he ever get another coaching job?
He gets high profile jobs though. That's the crazy thing. He doesn't go down. He's not gonna go to Hawaii or SMU or anything. I guarantee you he gets another high profile job somewhere. I wouldn't be shocked if he got if Mac Brown got fired. I wouldn't be shocked if Texas hired him.
You know what? There was actually in the sports forum group that I'm in, there actually was a question about that the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's being that Will Muschamp came from Will Muschamp didn't stay around in Texas because Mac Brown was there, so he went to the job in Florida. And right now, Muschamp in Florida,
See, warming up.
Yeah. So obviously between those two, who gets canned first? And for the most of the answers were, that I received on there was Will Muschamp, because obviously Mac Brown pretty much for what he's done for Texas. I don't think they'll walk him out of there. I always thought that what they'll do with Mac Brown is kind of like what they did to Bobby Bowden in Florida State. They'll probably pretty much just say, hey, this is your last little go around here. Go ahead and just walk away, please walk away, and we'll have to do this the ugly way.
I know, kind of get that Jimbo Fisher treatment, like, hey.
Please walk away, Bobby Bowden.
Hey, come on, man.
Just walk away, Mac Brown. Please walk away. Let's see. Lane's obviously already been in the SEC.
Right.
He couldn't handle that situation.
Oh no.
They couldn't wait to run his ass out of there.
I would also go ahead and say this, and I know this isn't going to happen, but this would really piss me off if this really did happen. Let's say somehow Jerry Jones just decides, you know what, Jason Garrett isn't cutting it. And let's just say somehow Jerry Jones just feels like that. Guess what? I got Monty Kiffin here. Let's just try Lane Kiffin here. I would actually throw stuff.
Did we try that already?
I will throw stuff.
Al Davis probably Al Davis would do one of these numbers to Jerry Jones. Come on, man. Didn't I tell you before I died that this guy was no good? They were close. Didn't I tell you before you died?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You gonna hire him anyway? Actually, that'd be a nice scenario, but I don't know if Boy, if Jerry pulled something like that off, obviously we know what his thing is. If he can pull that off, I mean, well, I will say this: I actually just brought this up today, and I guess I run it to you. If your boy Romo decides to, these are not the words I used when I said this, but Romo decided to trick off another season, end of the season, and Johnny Manziel, isn't in the top 15, or let's just say top 15.
Oh
top
man,
20,
Jerry has to take him. You have to take him.
Jerry will go ahead and just.
You have to. The marketing, Johnny football.
Marketing ability.
That is.
I hate to say
America's team, man.
I hate to say it, but yeah, it's gonna happen. It would happen if Romo does that. It would have to happen because
It would have to.
It has to.
Even though the similarities in their playing style, are kind of there, but you gotta take the younger guy, and the younger guy with the big name and the star power.
Yeah, you know what Jerry can do with that.
Because sadly, Romo's not getting any younger. He's 34 years old, I think, in this case. So, yeah, I mean, I would do the same thing too. I mean, I hate to say it, but.
Do you see Jerry really say we want him? We want Johnny football. Stay in Texas and that would be. That'd be interesting. I was saying that'd be an interesting scenario. That would be, because I think it was a question that was asked about Jay Cutler that if the Bears don't do what they're supposed to do this year, do they offer a big extension to Jay Cutler, or do they go ahead and let him walk? And of course, someone tied that in with Tony Romo and everything else. And I threw the other question out. I would be surprised to see that. So that's kind of where I had to do that at. So, but yeah, it would not surprise me at all if Jerry just said, "Hey, Tony, it was nice, but."
It wouldn't either. It would not either. I think if that happens, absolutely, he probably would probably try to give him one more year, and just be like, but.
He definitely would be on the clock, yeah.
it just would look bleak in that case. It just would look bleak. It just would look bleak.
So have you guys done any reviews for week 2 yet or anything?
Oh yeah, we've done our picks for week 2. Gotta make yours?
Actually, I need to schedule. Well, I know tomorrow the Jets and the Patriots. I think it's safe. Well, I won't say safe to say because, they got a mass unit going on up there. And I think, as Greeny said, this who's Tom Brady gonna throw the ball to? Who's Tom Brady throwing the ball to now?
I'm guessing Pat the Patriot is not available in this case.
They'll win barely because they're at home.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, if Geno Smith goes to New England and wins there, I think Sanchez Monday morning is another one-way ticket out of New York.
Oh, yeah.
For good.
Sanchez is gonna take his Fu Manchu mustache and just leave.
They're going good. They'll go ahead and he's going for good. They'll just cut bait. They already have to pay him. They'll just cut bait right there if that happens. But if Geno goes into New England and wins this game, I think obviously I'm looking at St. Louis and Atlanta. Obviously, I think the Falcons will come back home and win that game also.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't be as one-sided as I originally thought it would be. St. Louis played very well the other day. Carolina and Buffalo. This was one game I was tied up on a lot.
Same for us.
I want Buffalo. Although
Yeah, I think I picked Buffalo in that one too.
I thought Carolina would win. I thought Carolina would win last week, but it didn't. I gotta go Buffalo with this. Chicago and Green Bay. Green Bay and Washington. RG3 looked very well. He looked pretty good towards the end of that game last week or Monday night. I think if you look at the similarities between him, obviously Green Bay. Well, the good news is they stopped calling Kaepernick for running. Bad news is they still don't have an answer for him for passing. He went for 400 yards, and I think RG3 can light him up for a good 300, being in that pocket the way he was. I mean, the timing's still going to be off for the standpoint that, he didn't have a training camp or whatnot. So I guess I'll still go with Green Bay. They're at home. Whatever. Miami, Indy, I think Luck should win that game. This is another game I was tied up on Lamar. Dallas and Kansas City.
I picked Kansas City.
Yeah, of course you know who I picked.
I was tied up with that game, man.
I think it's a trap game.
I might have to side with you, Rob, on this one. I'm gonna have to say Kansas City.
Oh.
I may have to take the home team on this one. But you know what? Though? I don't know. I think this is. I'm gonna have to go with the home team on this one, Rob. I think I'm gonna take the home team on this one. Philly and San Diego. They'll get the doors blowing off of them. I think. They'll get the doors blowing off of them. San Diego. Phillip Rivers look. I don't know. He just. I don't know. He looked okay for the first 2.5 quarters. Then towards the end of that game, from what I heard, he just looked like, I don't know. Cleveland, Baltimore, obviously the Ravens should win this game. I think getting nationally embarrassed the way they did the other day, the other night, they should win that game. Tennessee and Houston, it wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee win this.
I picked Tennessee as well. I think Tennessee, I think they can do it because you watch the Houston-San Diego game. For San Diego to get the jump on them that fast.
Yeah. And then I hear there's some big problems. I hear there's a big dispute with Arian Foster and the coaching staff for pulling them out of the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Ben Tate took off, man. Ben Tate took off. He was like, hey, I'll run. Fuck all that dancing. Forget all the dancing Arian does.
Tennessee, it wouldn't surprise me because Tennessee did this Pittsburgh. That's another worse for week 1. What the hell happened to them?
Oh yes.
What the hell happened? I guess Ben Roethlisberger today. Well, that just. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think he's looking at Bruce Arians and saying, man, is there any way is there any way I can come out there? Or is there any way you can come back here? We can ship Todd Haley's ass back to Arizona. Look, this ain't working, though. That ain't working. That's just not working. Arizona and Detroit. I'll go Arizona on this one. I think Detroit, again, I still thought we more gave that game away than they wanted. And I'll stick by that. I don't care. Tampa and New Orleans, they're going to beat the brakes off of the Buccaneers. I think Josh Freeman, and that's a sad thing. I mean, 3 years ago, you thought that Freeman was going to be, he was going to be pretty good. I think that he obviously needs to go to a new team. Hopefully he does, but I just think that it's just a matter of time before they put Gleason in. So, Jacksonville and Oakland. You know what? For laughing at Jacksonville, this is actually a pretty good game. They could win this game. They could win it. I'm not gonna say they should win it. They could go out there and win this game. I think Oakland, pretty much Oakland was a one-man show last week. Obviously, Tyler Breyer did very well. But obviously you can't have your running back be the lead. You can't have your quarterback be the leading rusher on the team.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen. But I think I'll still be hoping Jacksonville just not good. Denver and New York. I gave this game to the Giants before the season started. I'm gonna stay with this. I think the Giants sneak a win here. I think they sneak a win here. I think Denver, comes off this mile high, you should say, and I think they at least take a loss here. Oh, and the big game of the night, Seattle and San Francisco. I'm gonna go San Francisco. I'm going with the Niners on this one. I still thought that the Niners. I think if Percy was there, then I would probably take Seattle. I still think Colin. Right now, if him and Anquan Bolden have that relationship the way they had against Green Bay, it's just going to be tough for teams.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And Frank Gore, let's not forget about Frank Gore still running the ball as well as he runs it. So I'm going to go, and I think Seattle for the most part struggled in that game in Carolina. I know they won at the end, but they struggled for most of that game.
We're going to see who loves an eyebrow in that game, too.
That's a crazy thing. I'm with Mike Greenberg. That has to be one of the most craziest bets I've ever seen. Like that they ever. Did you have to have it waxed off or something? Yeah, I mean, then they're gonna want to look. Well, Russell, I think Kaepernick, it's probably okay for him to lose an eyebrow. His aren't as thick for Russell.
Yeah, Russell's eyebrows pretty much make him
And then Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I think the Bengals should win this game. If Cincinnati, this is the 1 year for them to be the whooping boys in Pittsburgh. This is it right here. And if they drop this game against the Steelers, they're not gonna win the division.
I feel you.
I'll tell you that right now. They're not winning this division if they drop this game. This is a big game for Cincinnati.
I totally agree.
I didn't forget one game. Us in Minnesota and Chicago. Well, I omitted this game for a reason, because obviously I'm going to take my heart here before I pick my head, and I still think that we can bounce back and win this game.
Yeah, I think Chicago.
That we're due for a game in Chicago. We haven't won there in 6 years. Yeah. I think Ponder plays a little better. We somehow find a way to make Jay Cutler turn the ball over and win this game.
If it makes you feel any better, I'd pick Minnesota too.
Yeah, I put Chicago. Ponder just, man. I don't know, man. And I'm a Ponder defender. I've defended Ponder, but man, you gotta come on, man. You gotta bring it.
Really he had some good. That was really his biggest. Like I said, the second interception in that game was really his biggest. And then of course the fumble, where he tripped and fumbled the football. And obviously, like I said, we still had a chance to win the game until that happened. Like, I know this is a bad day at the office, and I'm willing to accept that that was a very bad day at the office.
Oh yeah.
We've had a few of those. Yeah, that's what I got there.
So let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second break, and we're gonna pretty much try to wrap up the show right here with the Gafford and Brown Show. We also have Clarence Sales still being on the air as well. We'll see you in about 30 seconds. Let's see here. All right, and we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show. Basically, going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Pretty much with what else is going on in the sports world right now. Bad situation with Derek Jeter. His season is going to be over with.
And you kind of feel bad about it at the same time. The Yankees are like, hey, you can leave. Go ahead, please go. We want you to retire, Yankee. Go. And he was like, no, I want this money. And you see what happened. And it's crazy. You got A-Rod having all this trouble. Derek Jeter season over. Rivera's done. It's like it's going to be a whole new regime soon.
It's Yankees. If Dan Meredith was still around, of course he would sing one of Willie Nelson's songs. And I think you guys know where I'm getting ready to go with this.
Oh man.
Turn off the lights. The party's over. They say all good things must end. Yankee fans. I think he comes back one more season. I don't think he's gonna go up this way. But let's just say right now, in the next 2 years, I think Jeter he won't be a Yankee much longer. He won't be playing much longer. I think that at this point, yeah, he's that ankle injury is bothering him, and for him to play shorts, I mean, unless Jeter decides to play DH, which I think he's rejected a few times, but I think now he may have to really look and say, maybe if I do want to play longer, I may have to go to DH. I may have to do what Paul Molitor did, go to DH. Do what Cowerkin did, go to DH. Then okay, I'll swallow my words and say, okay, he'll play a few more seasons after this. But if he's hell bent on playing shortstop, I think the end is near.
And also, we were just talking about this on the air too. Brad Childers, he's actually in Kansas City.
Kansas City, yeah.
So we got to face against him.
The diehard villain. Bill Simmons called him.
Yeah. I heard about the shakeup on that show too. The Will Vaughn left, and they got Doug Collins come to ESPN. That's weird.
I like
Really?
Doug Collins.
Yes.
I like him as a commentator during games. I remember him on NBC. He's a good color guy.
He's real great on NBC.
Yeah, I like him. I wish he could still be coaching, but I guess he felt like, hey, y'all messing everything. Y'all gave some of the best players away. Y'all give me Andrew Bynum. He don't even play.
The bad thing was he was overseas when it happened.
Yeah.
Imagine
Imagine seeing this inbox. Like, what the hell? What the hell going on?
He was overseas with the team last year. So him and Andre they said they had dinner the night before it happened. They were talking about what they were going to do in the season. Next thing you know, they woke up the next morning. He's in Denver. Like, whoa, wait a minute, huh?
What?
What the hell happened to my team? Where the hell is my team?
And right now, funny that you should also mention it because I think I saw somewhere that it might not. It looks like Bynum might not be ready for the season.
I don't think nobody surprised me.
I'm not surprised about it either, but.
Oh, really? Let's say in other news. I said this not too long ago. I said this. Obviously, if Bynum doesn't come back from this year, man, that's.
The Mavs brought in Fab Melo, by the way.
Because, if we're saying that Greg Oden has a chance of playing a full season before Andrew Bynum does.
Yeah, something.
Oh, man.
Something's going on now.
Something ain't right.
It's a little serious than we thought if we're saying that. If we're saying Greg Oden has a better chance of shot at playing a full season than Bynum does. Something's wrong.
Been hearing a little bit of reports here about Chip Kelly actually wanting the Eagles to run a little bit faster. I think we had touched on that here, but what are your thoughts about
Trying
that?
to kill Michael Vick.
A little faster. It's only week one. Just faster. Chip doesn't understand when these ain't college players. These ain't young college players. These ain't young college players here. So, as if they wasn't running fast enough already. But I think throughout the season he should see his results. I was just only week one, so good luck with that, I guess.
For you guys for you soccer fans out there, the United States clinches a place in the World Cup in 2014. We're going to Rio.
Only
Twice.
two.
The Rio twice. With that's a good. The only thing is, obviously, I guess the question is, can they make it through the round of 16 this time?
Right.
I think that's been the one round that's haunted them. Is can they get to that round? Can they actually? I think Cornhusker said the best today. Hey, look, getting in here ain't nothing. Can you make noise when you get in this thing? Can you make some noise once you get in? So I think, and actually, I'm going to limb and say that this actually feel pretty good about this United States team. I don't know. I'm not going to limb and say they win the whole thing, but I do think they can at least get into that round. Obviously, it's avoiding Spain, Italy, and I'm going to say the home team. Brazil can. How long can you avoid those three before you have to end the play?
Right.
If you can avoid, because if they can avoid them for deep into the tournament, I think the U.S. has a pretty good shot.
Oh yeah.
Most likely Mexico, if they see us again, they might be a little pissed off at what happened last night. We'll see.
I just would love to be in Rio right at that point in time for things other than the World Cup.
Well, I still got 3 years left on the Olympics.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
That too. Yeah. Doesn't have to be this year.
You missed the World Cup. You still got the Olympics.
Yeah. Still got to save up our money. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Still got to save up the money.
I don't know. I guess we have to find some sporting, some sports media place that we can get hired on, that we can be special reporters for the Olympics. Jump on our way to go to the Olympics, be a special reporter or something. Be a special reporter in the village down there, for obvious reasons.
It seems like the hits keep on coming for Lamar Odom. He keeps on. Well, he's saying right now he does not have a drug problem, even though there have been a little bit of reports saying that he has been making homemade crack pipes.
I just want to know. I know he's from New York, right?
Yes.
How old is Lamar? 35, 30, 34, 33?
He's got to be up there in the 30s. I know that much.
I just didn't know cats were still doing crack like that, man. I said he made too much money to be doing crack, but it's unfortunate to see Lamar going down this path. Even if it is true, these allegations and whatnot, it's crazy. I hope he gets.
I don't know if does it go back to the Lakers trade? Remember
he was hurt.
I guess he was happy out there. Then that happened. I mean, when that type of stuff happens, it resort to. Because I guess the first question you have to ask is, when did he start doing it?
Yeah.
And then after that, and I'm guessing if he started doing it, it had to been during his time in Dallas, where it was just about he really didn't give he really didn't give a bleep about being there, which when it came down to it, he didn't.
He really did, though.
Yeah, he was pretty hurt. I mean, this was a guy I used to hear reports about. He just liked to eat candy a lot.
Yes.
Now he doing. How you go from candy to crack?
I mean, that's just crazy.
It's a hell of a jump.
I mean, I can't really put my finger on that, but I mean, I just think it had to be after the Lakers traded him, because he really wanted to stay in LA, and yet whenever they decided to probably wanted to get trade him away to New Orleans, I think, for that Chris Paul trade, I think his feelings were hurt, and then they kind of reacted in the irrational way, traded him to us, and then next thing you know.
Well, I bet the Lakers probably think that they should have did that either. After what happened last year, the disaster that happened last year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's been a great reception for Dwight Howard in the next month or two. See that reception when you go back to LA for the first time.
Oh, yes. I cannot wait to see how that's going to be. I cannot wait to see how that's going to be.
I don't see why. I told you guys, I knew something was up when I saw that thing with Mitch Kupchak that night. I was like, yeah, he's out, he's gone. After he got tossed in that game with San Antonio, he started talking about Kupchak. I was like, yeah, it's over. He's out. He's gone. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
A little something that's a little bit localized here. Doug Williams gets fired from Grambling.
That I didn't hear. I heard you guys talking about that before I got on the air.
Right.
I did not know.
Yeah,
I did not know.
caught a lot of people off guard because thinking this is the second go around, son's quarterback. What could go wrong? 2 years ago they were
SWAC in the SWAC championship.
In the championship. But, I don't know how that. I mean, you would have to think that could it be tenure that he was there too long? That they needed something different? I don't know if they had an AD change lately or not, or just I don't. Yeah, that's kind of like I just said, Rob. Having right after the first game.
Right.
About that.
I hate to say it, but my Warhawks did it. Cool. Hate to say it.
And that was crazy because both Grambling and Southern took some pretty hard losses to D1 schools. Well, y'all D1 now.
Yeah, D1. Yeah, I say this though. At least for Southern, the band brought it.
Right.
The band brought it. I mean, the band was everything that you could just think of. And had one of the announcing guys that was beside me, he couldn't wait for the dancing dolls to come out there. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was ready to take off.
For obvious reasons, yes.
For obvious reasons. Not gonna say any names though. But also, I guess we got some more allegations here. pretty much former Alabama star DJ Fluker and Luther Davis implicated in the extra benefits report. I just kind of take this with a grain of salt, to be honest with you.
Right.
I said this last. The NCAA, at some point, this is why I think that that in the next 4 to 5 years, there's going to be a big breakup. And I think right now they're going to start treating this like the NCAA is probably will be no more in the next 5 years. I think this whole. I guess after Jay Billis busted out the NCAA, and I think Jay Billis might want to start looking around corners lately. Make sure nobody out there take a hit on him. Make sure Mark Emmert haven't put nobody take a hit out on him after what he did. After what he did not too long ago with the memorabilia stuff. A lot of their bylaws, they really have to go back on some of these bylaws. They just have to really. They gotta update them. They have to. This is a different era, and this is what I said. This is a different era of time that we live in now. I think it's different. I think they've been doing this under the rugs for years and years and years. And I think now it's becoming more and more blatant now because obviously
nobody just cares about the rules. Yeah.
The advent of social media, you're seeing this type of stuff. I just think that they gotta at some point they have to consider that. This is like what I said, the argument with baseball. Look, the era is changing around. You have to change with it. I mean, use the damn replay already. Not to go off subject, but change the damn rules. Update these rules to make this thing to make it. Because extra benefits stuff. I mean, you're right. It's cheesy. This shit's cheesy.
I mean, it feels like the NCAA is basically still going off the Napoleonic Code. Yet, I mean, yet that was pretty much 200 years ago, and right now, come on now. I honestly, like I said, I've always been, and me and Rob have been on record here saying pay them, pay the players.
Yeah, they getting paid anyway. From what we're reading, they getting paid anyway. Good, make it legal. I mean, make it official.
I always said that they should give the players an option. They should give this option. I said, if you take the scholarship, you have to stay a minimum of 3 years, and you have to abide by all the rules, and that's it. Obviously, if you break the rule, you're in trouble. You're ineligible, and that's it. Or if you decide to get paid through college, you have to pay for your own college expenses, meaning that you have to pay for your room and board, you have to pay for your food, you have to pay for all that with the money basically you have, or however else you get the money. And I guess no rules would apply to you. So obviously, if you got a big booster giving you a shitload of money, then at this point, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand there's some unfairness in between there, and it got still in line with Herman Edwards, I treat everybody fairly. I don't treat everybody the same. I treat everybody fairly, and I guess you have to find that as well. Everything's being treated fair. You're not gonna be treated the same. We all know. Okay, this star player is gonna get more money. Johnny Manziel, he's paid, but I think if we pay him, hey, I mean, we're not paying you thousands of dollars. Well, at least not too many thousands of dollars, but if they need to be paid, pay them. But don't pay for theirs. Don't pay for their fine. You're going to be treated like a regular college student. You're going to have to make sure you pay for your school and every month. You book your room and board and all this and that. And then we'll pay. And then our rules don't apply. But you have to make that. You can't. Once you make that decision, you have to make that decision before you come in. And once you make it, you can't go back and change it. Once you accepted the rules, that's it. Versus whatever the hell is going on now, where obviously if I give one of my ex-players a donut, that's extra benefits, and now he's ineligible, all because I gave him a Krispy Kreme donut. Come on, guys.
The Miami Heat bring back Michael Beasley.
That's interesting. I thought the Lakers were gonna get him, but that's interesting. If he stays focused, I saw it was like a practice. It's some stipulation in there, like a practice contract.
I think it's a non-guarantee.
Yeah, something short term. But if him and Odom work out, if Oakland can give him 10-10, if Beasley can keep his head in the game and stay healthy, I see a three-peat happening so easily. So
Well, I think, well, obviously this has to be the last. To me, this is the last year Miami can do anything, and even that's not guaranteed from the standpoint. Chicago, obviously Chicago's ready to go, and I know right now they're ready to go with help. They're easily the number one seed. Remember, and I think I made this point last month on this show. Remember, before Derrick Rose got hurt, the Bulls were the number one seed that year. When he got hurt, they were the number one seed. You remember, they were the number one seed the year before that too. So technically, I mean, what were they, the fifth seed this year? They could have been the fourth seed. They only lost out by one game.
Yeah.
This Chicago team easily could be their, I guess, regular season might be best team in the East if they're healthy. Indiana, obviously, Larry Bird going back now, so obviously Larry Bird took his 1 year sabbatical. He's going back to running the Pacers again. So that obviously means good things for them. I think they're obviously not going anywhere, and I know right now they're gonna probably be more open on trying to go back and play Miami again because they want some of that. They want some of that Miami because they felt like they left a few games on the court there for them, but I'm sure they're gonna want some of that again. It's gonna be hard for Miami, and I think I know they said that they asked LeBron James will he stay in Miami. He was non-committal. Of course, he's not non-committal, but we all know right now most likely this is probably going to be his last season there because at this point right now, Dwayne Wade probably is about 2 seasons for me away from not being the Dwayne Wade we know and love. I think that this is probably his last little swan song here. He'll probably dig down and give you a little more this season, but after that, I think we're going to start seeing the tail end of that, and I think LeBron came here for that reason. Well, Wade, I think, as I said again, I think Bosh is expendable. I think if this thing does belly flop or doesn't go the way it needs to go for Miami around trade deadline time, I think Bosh again will probably be the first guy they'll cut bait with. I think in that scenario. As far as Odin go, I did say this. If Odin could get 82 games, or at least 70 of the 82, a lot more games than he's ever given. If he can give them more games, I thought that yes, that was the threat inside Miami, and that's the guy that could go and obviously check Roy Hibbert. It'd be a lot like how it was in that national semifinal back in 07. With Odin and Hibbert. Now, of course, we didn't really see much of that because Hibbert kept getting in foul trouble. So obviously that won't be the case now. But that in itself, if those two teams shall meet in the playoffs and Odin is still around, that in itself should be a pretty damn good matchup right there to watch. So, if that happens, Beasley coming off the bench, that's just giving an extra. That's giving extra body off the bench. And at the same time, a younger rebounder who can score. Pretty, obviously, again, if he keeps his head in the game, that could be a very, very, very good Eastern Conference. Obviously, you have Brooklyn there too. That could be a very interesting scenario there. Very interesting to watch. So, we'll see.
You had touched on this a little bit earlier, Clarence, but let's get everybody's opinions on this one. Ndamukong Suh about his NFL fine, and he's actually going to appeal the NFL fine. He was also cleared in the pellet gun incident to make that worse.
What's wrong with you, man?
What?
A cable guy said that Suh pulled a pellet gun on him.
What?
You
I have not seen this.
Black Sports Online. I think it was a gun.
I read this down.
Incident with a gun and a cable guy. Dude got issues, man.
Man, when he was in Nebraska, I thought this guy was pretty much the nicest guy that you could ever meet, like a humble, jolly giant. And now when he comes to Detroit, here he is tearing off quarterbacks' heads and stomping on quarterbacks and kicking people in the nuts and all that. I mean,
they said Detroit was a blue collar city. They had the bad boy business, but We've been hanging around land beer a lot or something. You been kicking it with land beer or something? This dude, he said, I gotta find that story. But as far as my team, the $100,000 again. I go back to that. I think that a lot of people said that was too high. I think the sports forum group that I'm in, they said that was obviously too high, uncalled for. These are two things that I said that I think. Do I think that the fine is too high? I mean, obviously, anyone who thinks a tenth of a million, yeah, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I ain't got it. So, but the reason why he got that, I think he got the high, is obviously look, you're a repeat offender. We just dealt with you last year after you kicked shot in the TT. Kicked the ding ding, you kicked him in the ding ding. Then we just go through this with you. So, and two, if you look at the play, obviously the play, Sue didn't even have to touch him. He didn't have to touch him.
At all.
I think the risk of that was you could have blew Sullivan's knee out on that play.
Yeah.
And that's where that is. And thank God that didn't happen.
Right.
But you didn't even have to touch him. I mean, after the ball bounced off Simpson's shoulder pad, I forgot what the linebacker intercepted. He was gone. He was already gone.
Yeah.
Even Christian Ponder pulled up after he turned around and ran, and he just pulled up and said, "The hell with it." That's the same going after him. So at this point, go down, run down and celebrate with your team. You ain't got to do a chop block.
Right.
Go celebrate with your team, man. What you doing, bro? So that's why I said, I think I would keep it. $100,000, yeah, to let you know that. And I think next time, I think Goodell has to take him off the field next time. Next time he does something, and if he does something this season at least, if it's next season, then okay, another fine to be suitable. But if he does something this season again, I think Goodell has to strongly consider, look, one game, go sit down.
I agree, yeah.
Right.
One game suspended.
David Stern, I'm a David Stern, you go sit down.
It's got to be. Something has to at least get to his head or something like that. So.
Go sit down again. Go sit down again. I don't care who you play, go sit down.
Big fight weekend here. Mayweather against Alvarez. Who wins and why?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Mayweather, just because Mayweather's that dude, and he can't be stopped. And Alvarez, I don't think Alvarez is ready.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think he's ready.
Yeah, Mayweather. I have to say Mayweather. It was a close call last time. I'd say Mayweather. Yeah. Obviously, probably another 12 round. Obviously, another 12 round. They'll say Mayweather dance around the ring, kind of like what he did with Cotto. So, it'll be interesting. I think should win. I think everybody would like to see him knock the hell out of somebody, but he probably won't happen. But he'll win 12 rounds.
Mayweather is going to win, and even if he loses, he's still going to win because it seems like $41 million purse. $41.5 million purse. So, yeah, really, money scene.
I want to win too.
I just want to at least hold one of the belts, man.
I just want $1 million. I just want $1 million. That's all.
That's it. That's all I need.
I care less. What else? Y'all plan to give me anything? Just give me something to cut.
They just want one of the smoke right, yeah. I just want to be part of his entourage. When they walk into the club to the after party, I just want to be a part of the entourage. Be that guy that walk in like, how many people you got here? They just keep walking like, hey, what's up?
Stay close. Just stay close. Just stay close. Speaking of big fight weekend, we got ourselves a big wrestling pay-per-view here with Night of Champions.
Yeah, Night of Champions, the first pay-per-view in a long time without John Cena. We'll see how it goes. I'm thinking pretty much gonna be business as usual. I think Orton's gonna win. I think Punk is gonna beat Paul Heyman
up pretty bad.
Senseless.
Yeah. I think the Shield's going to win. Pretty much just basic stuff. It's just the same old, pretty much. I don't really expect anything different to happen to Survivor Series.
Okay. And let's see here. I think I pretty much got let's see. If I had to go ahead and be a betting man, I say Bryan might get a chance to win. I don't know if it's going to be too soon, but I think he'll get a chance to win. Like you said, CM Punk is going to get a chance to win too. I'd love to see Rob Van Dam complete his comeback at this pay-per-view. I would love to see that with his Mexican announcer.
Yeah, man, for him to be doing the stuff he's doing now at that age and with his history of smoking weed, it's pretty impressive. It's like, man, this dude is not burnt out yet.
Rob Van Dam. Wow, he's doing all that, huh?
Still is, man. Still is. You gotta watch some wrestling, man.
Yeah, it's been a long disconnect for me since. It's been a long disconnect for me. I tried to, but this is one of those things where it's like running a race and then you go get some water and you come back and it's like, okay. He's there with the people I was running with. Hold on.
That was funny, man.
Who are these guys?
What the hell going on?
Yeah, it's taking me a while to come back to tell you. We haven't watched it in a while. Yeah, it does that to you.
Let's see. I'm actually reading something here on USA Today for the win. How much for an ounce of beer? If you want to know who has the most expensive beer,
Dallas. It's not the Cowboys?
no, it's not the Cowboys. Actually, second place.
No.
Detroit,
Detroit.
67 cents for an ounce of beer in Detroit, and Dallas is 53.
They need all the money in the world, so I guess just start somewhere. They need all the money they can possibly get in that city. So,
The other places that are about north of 50 cents, Pittsburgh and Seattle are at 50 cents for an ounce. The NFL average is 44 cents. Denver is down at 42 cents.
Well, for obvious reasons.
Minnesota's at 39 cents. And last place is, well, the cheapest beer is going to be Carolina at 27
Yeah,
cents.
they giving it away. Just come to the game.
Yeah, 2 for 1. Thank you. Oh, do you want to take it? This is yours.
Let's see here.
Okay. That's interesting. I
And
know they came up with the stat last week about when your team loses, that people gain more weight when the team loses than they do when they win. I guess so.
I think it's pretty much been the case for me over the past couple of years.
People gain more weight when your team loses than they do when they win. It probably because you chug down a few more beers because you gotta watch it. especially if it's one of them nights that your team just doesn't perform well. You just chug down a lot of beer that night.
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch this. There's some performances you can't watch sober, so yeah, it's gonna be a long night.
And of course, with the NFL being back, it's pretty much gaining all the ratings here. Actually, 4 of the top 20 shows on that did last week were NFL related, especially with the top one being the Giants Cowboys and number 2 being Baltimore and Denver.
Well, the Denver one, that's because everybody was ready to watch a football game, which, well, for one half, it was pretty good. I think everybody went to bed and missed the real fireworks. I know I sure did. And the Cowboys, yeah, it was a pretty good game. I think, once you got over all the turnovers, then yeah, it got pretty good.
So pretty much we're going to go ahead and try to wrap up the put a little bow on the show here. Anything else anybody wants to say? We'll start with you, Rob.
Not for the most part. I'm just really excited about this football season. So far, so good. Just a lot of pass happy teams, a lot of points. We'll see how long this trend continues. Just pretty much looking forward to how the season goes.
Closing remarks for you, Clarence?
Interesting weekend here, I think, in the college sports and as well as the NFL. Probably has a lot of do or die games here. I think, obviously, big 0-2 and 2-0, and can you survive those two? And then obviously, for obvious reasons, the big game and then College Station. You have Bama and A&M, obviously. Something to look forward to. So, and then you got the big fight night. So it's gonna be a pretty busy Saturday, or interesting Saturday, I may add. So, and wait, and then Friday the 13th here.
Oh yeah. I pretty much would have to go ahead and say that, like you guys said here, pro game, college game, like you said, big fight weekend as well here. Nice to see also college, high school football being back as well, and pretty much, I guess you guys took all the words I had out of my mouth here. I was about to say that I was going to be on the show in about 10 minutes, but that canceled. But just continue to also look out for 3 with JT. I know they were going to be on the show early. They were going to have their show today with internet problems, but actually that's a pretty good show too. So, I'll continue to retweet it as well. So, there you go. So pretty much this is going to be it, and it's pretty much going to wrap up episode number 44. I'm Lamar Gafford.
I'm Robert Brown.
Clarence Others.
And we will be right back. And hey, when's our next show, by the way? What, next week?
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll figure it out.
And we'll try to get it sometime during the middle of the week so we can try to at least make our picks and all that stuff too. So hope everybody continues to listen, and this is pretty much going to be it for us. Good night.